Welcome back to my channel. Tonight's story begins with a knock no one expected. Not polite. Not cautious. The kind that echoes hollow, deliberate, almost prophetic. A white envelope slid through the crack of a half-open door. No return address, no name. Only 5 haunting words scratched across the front in uneven ink. She swore to tell the truth. And below it, she didn't. Inside wasn't just paper. It was a reckoning. A photograph, sharp, incriminating, and time-stamped. It didn't just capture a lie. It exposed a betrayal so deep it would drag 5 lives into a courtroom and tear a family built on faith to pieces. For years, they called it sisterhood. But what happens when sisterhood turns into evidence? When dinner tables become battlefields and trust becomes a weapon? Because now they're not sitting side by side. They're standing across from each other, on opposite sides of a courtroom aisle. And here's the real tragedy. This isn't about betrayal alone. It's about who's lying to survive, and who's lying just to watch it all burn. They say faith can move mountains. But in this case, it's about to bury them. It was a Tuesday morning, cold, quiet, too normal for what was coming. Kids waited for buses. Dogs barked down the street. And on Robin's porch, between 2 cold coffee cups and a dying succulent, lay the envelope. She didn't notice it at first. Not until she lifted the morning mail and saw one letter without a stamp, without a sender, just that same phrase again. She swore to tell the truth. She didn't. Her fingers trembled. The paper crinkled like it might bite. She stepped inside, shut the door, and for a moment, she just stared. Because somewhere deep down, she already knew. This wasn't a warning. It was a detonation. That photo, Mary, a dim motel corridor. Her arms around a man no one recognized. His hand not on her shoulder, but in her purse. And that timestamp. The same night Mary swore under oath she was in Phoenix, visiting her sister. It wasn't rumor anymore. It was perjury. By lunchtime, Robin's hands shook as she called Kody. She lied, her voice cracked. She lied to the judge. To all of us. You told me she was visiting her sister. Silence. Kody's voice was low, controlled. Don't tell the others, he said. But by then it was too late. Christine found out next. Not by accident and by delivery. Her envelope held not a photo, but a USB drive. She plugged it in, static, voices, then Kody, arguing with another man. Words like custody, fraud, evidence filled the air. She played it once, twice, and on the third replay she whispered to herself, "This is going to court." Justice doesn't wait for an invitation. Sometimes it kicks the door down. 3 days later, official summons arrived, a family business hearing on paper. But in truth, it was a declaration of war. The courtroom was cold, not from the air, but from what everyone carried inside. Christine arrived first. Black slacks, burgundy blouse, no jewelry, focused, controlled. Janelle followed, file in hand, jaw locked tight. Robin came next, pale as porcelain, hiding behind Kody like a shadow. And then, Mary, late, alone, walking in as if she was dragging the ghosts of her own choices behind her. The judge entered, sharp, composed, unforgiving. "We're here today," she began, "to discuss allegations of asset mismanagement, breach of trust, and possible perjury in prior declarations." The silence was suffocating. Christine stood. "Your Honor," she said clearly, "I've submitted new evidence that challenges the validity of previous sworn testimony given by Mary Brown." Mary didn't move. Her jaw was tight, eyes blinking too fast. Every second of silence screamed louder than words. During recess, whispers filled the hall. Not from reporters and from the family themselves. Janelle hissed, "Why didn't you say anything?" Christine replied coldly, "Because nobody would have believed me until now." Robin stood apart, arms crossed, eyes fixed on the floor. And Kody, he just watched Mary, as if seeing a stranger for the first time. When court resumed, the evidence lit up the screen. Mary in the motel hallway. The timestamp. The audio of Kody's argument with the investigator one of the wives had secretly hired. The courtroom creaked, the sound of illusions breaking apart. The judge turned to Mary. "Ms. Brown, would you like to respond?" Mary stood slowly. Her voice didn't shake, it cut. "That photo was taken during a breakdown," she said. "A mistake. But it's not what it looks like. Were you in Phoenix on that date?" The judge pressed, silence, too long. Then, "Yes." A single gasp rippled through the courtroom. Christine leaned to Janelle and whispered, "She just confessed to perjury." Kody rubbed his temple like it was all a bad dream. Robin's eyes were glassy, but her expression, cold, unreadable. Because the truth doesn't always kill you. The fear of it does. The judge adjourned, promised further investigation. But before anyone could stand, Christine rose again. She reached into her purse and handed the bailiff a sealed file. No one knew what was inside. Not even Janelle. But as Christine passed Mary's table, she whispered just loud enough for her to hear. "You're not the only one who's been hiding things." And then she walked out, heels echoing like a countdown. The courtroom stayed silent. Not because it was over, but because everyone knew the real war had just begun. Secrets don't die in silence. Sometimes silence breaks and takes everyone with it. Tonight, the courtroom isn't just a room anymore. It's a battlefield. And the truth? It finally showed up, not as a whisper, but as a storm. Christine enters first, not hurried, not hesitant. Every step is a statement, deliberate, controlled, the calm before a reckoning. She hasn't slept. You can see it? The dark circles under her eyes aren't from makeup. They're from memory. From running the same conversation in her head over and over until it broke something inside her. Behind her, Janelle walks in, clutching a coffee she'll never drink. And then comes Robin, quiet, expressionless, walking 2 steps behind Kody like a shadow that forgot who it belonged to. Mary enters last, always last, head down, avoiding every gaze that could burn her alive. Because today's hearing isn't about evidence, it's about truth. Who swore it, and who buried it. The judge, same sharp-eyed woman as before, doesn't waste a moment. "Christine Brown," she says, "you are called to the stand." Christine rises, shoulders squared, lips pressed tight. For years she played the peacemaker, the one who smiled, the one who held the family together with words and patience and faith. But now that illusion is gone. She places her hand on the Bible. It trembles slightly beneath her palm. And then she speaks. "Christine," steady, quiet, "I didn't want this. Any of it. But I watched my family unravel because of secrets. Because of domination." She glances at Kody. "Because of the lies we told to protect a man who never protected us." Kody's jaw locks. His lawyer whispers something, but Christine doesn't flinch. Christine continuing. "We told the world we were one big, happy family built on faith. But faith without truth isn't faith. It's control. And when some of us tried to leave, we weren't set free. We were punished. Emotionally. Financially. Legally." The gallery murmurs. Reporters lean forward. Cameras hum softly. Kody leans toward his attorney, muttering under his breath, his face red with fury. Christine doesn't even look his way. "Christine, I'm not here to ruin my family. I'm here because it was already ruined, by the lies we kept defending. Maybe the bravest thing any of us can do is stop pretending." The judge nods. Then, the prosecutor signals the clerk. A recording plays. Kody's voice booms through the courtroom speakers. "You think you can walk out on this family and still get what's mine? You signed your part over. You don't get to change your mind." Then, a door slam. Silence, heavy, suffocating. Kody's lawyer leaps up. "Your Honor, that's taken out of context. But it doesn't matter. The damage is done. Everyone heard the threat. Everyone heard the truth." Christine exhales, tears in her eyes. Not of defeat, but of release. For the first time in years, she looks free. Judge, turning. "Mrs. Brown. Based on this testimony, it appears there may have been coordinated misstatements in prior financial filings. We'll need clarification." Mary's fingers tighten around the bench. Robin looks at her and pleading silently. "Don't speak. Please don't," Mary exhales. Then softly, "I didn't lie to save myself. I lied to save him." Gasps ripple through the room. Reporters start writing so fast their pens sound like firecrackers. Kody turns to her, face flushed. "What did you just say?" Mary Tomble. "You told me to draft the papers that way. You said it would make the taxes neater." Kody slamming the table. "That's a lie." Judge striking the gavel. "Enough." When truth begins to surface, it's always the guilty who scream the loudest. The courtroom is electric. Janelle whispers to Christine. She finally said it. Mary breaks down. "I didn't know it was wrong. I just thought I was helping the family." Judge, coldly. "Mrs. Brown, did Mr. Brown instruct you to falsify joint financial accounts?" Mary nods, just once. But it sounds like thunder. Cut to flashbulbs. Reporters shouting outside. Christine and Janelle walk past the chaos, silent, steady. Robin stays behind, tears streaking her cheeks. Robin to a reporter? You don't understand. You don't know what it was like living under him. Then she disappears into the hallway. Inside, during recess, Kody corners Mary. No microphones. No cameras, just rage. Kody, hissing. You just destroyed us. Mary, quietly. No, you destroyed me first. Love doesn't die, Kody. It just rots when you bury it alive. When the judge returns, cameras are turned off. Only the record remains. Judge, Mrs. Brown, Robin, you knew about these inconsistencies? Robin wipes her face. Yes, but I didn't think it would go this far. I thought we were just keeping it in the family. Judge, did Mr. Brown instruct you to withhold information from the court? A pause, then, yes. Kody goes pale. Robin collapses into tears, confessing she loved him, she trusted him, she thought submission was faith. Her voice cracks on the word supposed. Christine can't look. Janelle folds her arms, fighting tears. Kody stares blankly at the table. For the first time, no control left to cling to. Judge, softly. I believe we've heard enough for today. But before she can adjourn, the prosecutor steps forward. One last item, Your Honor. He hands over a printed text. From Kody to a contact labeled Consultant M. Keep Christine's name off the papers. She doesn't earn a cent. Reply, it's done. You could hear a pin drop. Judge, coldly. Mr. Brown, you will return tomorrow for direct examination. I suggest you consider your counsel. Very carefully. The gavel strikes. Court adjourned. Outside, I'm chaos. Reporters yelling, cameras flashing, thunder rolling overhead. Christine and Janelle walk side by side. Mary slips out a side door, crying quietly. Kody storms to his car, slamming the door so hard it echoes. Through the windshield, he sits still as the rain begins to fall. Robin stands outside in it, drenched, staring at him, tears blending with the storm. You can't tell if she's crying for him or herself. The camera lingers. Two figures. One inside the car, one outside in the rain, both trapped in the ruins of their own lies. Narrator, low final. Truth was never the enemy. The lies just ran out of places to hide. Christine turns back once at the courthouse steps, whispering, This isn't the end. Not until Kody takes the stand. This isn't the end. Not until Kody takes the stand. The courtroom was still, the air thick with the kind of silence that swallows everything. Kody stiffened in his chair, his hands clenched just tight enough to betray the storm brewing inside. That was quoted out of context, he muttered. The prosecutor didn't flinch. Then tell me the context, Mr. Brown. Kody's jaw worked before the words came out, slow and defensive. It was a particular situation. Christine needed money to go to Utah. I refused. The prosecutor's eyebrow lifted, sharp as a blade. You told her no, despite the fact she was entitled to those funds under the contract. Kody's tone hardened. She was leaving the family. She made her choice. His voice cracked on that last word. The prosecutor didn't let him breathe. So you assumed leaving meant forfeiting her rights? Kody hesitated, his silence louder than any confession. I figured she made her decision. Control isn't always loud. Sometimes it hides behind the rules you write yourself. The prosecutor circled like a predator that already smelled blood. Let's discuss the LLC tied to the Flagstaff property. You listed Mary and Robin as joint owners but left out Christine and Janelle? Why? Kody's answer came too quickly. They didn't want to participate. The sound that followed wasn't human. It was rage breaking through years of silence. Christine rose to her feet. That's a lie, she shouted. The gavel slammed down. Miss Brown, please. The judge warned, but the damage was done. The air changed. Janelle stood too. We asked to be included, she said firmly. He told us it was already taken care of. We never saw the papers. All eyes turned to Kody. He swallowed hard. They weren't dependable, he murmured. The prosecutor's voice sliced through him. Dependable? According to subpoenaed emails, Christine was covering expenses for 3 households while you lived with Robin full-time. The room froze. Even Kody couldn't spin that. You can lose control of a family, but it's worse to be caught proving you never deserved to lead it. The prosecutor stepped closer, lowering his voice. Let's move on to something more intimate. He held up a printed screenshot. Do you remember sending this? Kody's shoulders sagged. Yes. And who wrote these words? Silence. Janelle's whisper cracked the tension. Kody. The prosecutor read aloud, every syllable echoing through the room. I did what I had to do. The law can't reach what was ordained by God. Let them try. I'll bury them with scripture if I have to. The gallery erupted in gasps. Cameras clicked. The judge's gavel thundered. Order! Kody shot to his feet. That was private. Sit down, Mr. Brown. But he wouldn't. She's twisting everything. They all are. This isn't a court of law, it's a witch hunt. Christine stood. Janelle, too. Mary didn't stand, and she crumbled, collapsing into silent tears. Why didn't I see it? She whispered. Kody spun toward her, eyes wild. You always stood by me, Mary. Don't do this now. She didn't answer. The judge's voice cut through the chaos. This court will now call another witness, by special request of the plaintiff's attorney. The doors opened. A figure entered, sneakers, hoodie, a backpack slung over one shoulder. The room fell completely still. And then realization spread like a chill. Garrison Brown, Kody's estranged son. Kody's lips parted. No, he breathed. Christine's hand flew to her mouth. Janelle gripped the railing to keep herself upright. Garrison walked forward, eyes fixed on the judge, not his father. I'm ready to testify, he said softly. In that moment, the courtroom didn't feel like a place of law anymore. It felt like a graveyard, and the ghosts weren't buried. They sat in the benches wearing wedding rings, hiding behind years of faith and fear. He took the stand, his voice steady. I was taught to believe my father was a man of God, he began. But now I think he just wanted to be God in our home. Kody flinched. Janelle gasped. Christine closed her eyes. Mary looked away, unable to face it. The attorney leaned in. Garrison, can you tell the court what caused your relationship with your father to break down? It didn't happen overnight, Garrison said. It was years of watching him make one home a priority, of seeing my mother treated like a tenant instead of a wife. But it really began during the pandemic. He made rules. Harsh rules. No friends, no school, no visits. Said it was God's will, but it only applied to us. He was living with Robin, going to her kids' recitals, sitting at her dinner table every night. But when I invited him to my graduation, outdoors, masked, he said I was endangering the family. He paused, his voice trembling. That same week, he was seen at a mall. No mask. With Robin. The courtroom tensed. When I confronted him, he told me I was rebellious. That my mom poisoned my heart. But he left me before I left him. He looked down. Sometimes a father's silence hurts more than a scream. The attorney's tone softened. Did your father ever threaten you, emotionally or financially? Yes, Garrison said quietly. He didn't have to say it directly. It was understood. If we questioned him, we'd be cut off. Spiritually, financially, emotionally. We'd lose everything. And how did that affect you? I joined the National Guard, he replied. I needed discipline. I needed to find a father figure somewhere because I couldn't find one at home. The room broke. Christine blinked rapidly to stop the tears. Janelle clasped her hand over her mouth. Kody sat motionless, eyes fixed on the table, his jaw twitching with suppressed rage or shame. No one could tell. The attorney gave one last question. Was there a moment you knew he'd crossed the line? Yes, Garrison whispered. October 2020. He came to my mom's house furious. My little brother joked that we hadn't seen Dad in weeks. Kody exploded, called him ungrateful. Said he didn't deserve his last name. Garrison looked straight at the jury. You don't forget that. When your parent makes you feel expendable, you spend the rest of your life wondering if you ever really existed to them. The attorney nodded softly. Thank you, Garrison. The judge leaned forward, his voice quiet but heavy with meaning. No further questions. And for the first time, Kody Brown, the man who once commanded 4 homes and a family empire, sat powerless, watching the truth he built his life to avoid, finally stand and testify against him. Finally stand and testify against him. The witness was dismissed. Garrison rose slowly, his steps measured, passing Kody. Their eyes met for the briefest instant, a flicker of unspoken history. Kody parted his lips, but no words formed. Garrison continued on, not looking back, not once, slipping through the courtroom doors into silence. And then it came, a soft, broken sob. Mary Brown, who had carried the weight of years in silence, now trembled uncontrollably. She had smiled through betrayals, nodded through gaslighting, endured the collapse of her marriage under the guise of spiritual guidance. But now the facade shattered, and the courtroom watched as she unraveled. She rose, hands shaking, voice rising above the murmurs. He said, "We'd be a family forever." Kody stepped back, startled. "Mary, no," he called. Don't say my name like that," she cried, every syllable sharp, cutting. "Like you didn't leave me years before you ever claimed it. Like I was a mistake you were too afraid to erase." The room fell silent. Even Judge Hamilton paused mid-sentence, sensing this was sacred, untouchable. "I saw you handing out love like candy," Mary continued, sobbing. "And I settled for crumbs thinking it was spiritual strength. It was weakness." "Kody, mine. Not yours," Kody snapped. "Sit down, Mary. You're humiliating yourself." The gavel slammed. "Mr. Brown, that's enough?" Kody spun, furious, deranged. "This court is a setup. You think you can judge my family? You have no idea what we built." He took a step forward, and bailiffs reacted instantly. "Mr. Brown warned." He cackled, bitter and unhinged. "No judge can govern spiritual law. You think this matters? You think any of this exists?" The louder he shouted, the clearer it became. The Emperor had no clothes. Judge Hamilton rose. "I hold Mr. Kody Brown in contempt of court. You will be detained overnight. One more outburst and charges will be filed." Bailiffs escorted Kody out, his face flushed, voice echoing down the hall. "You're killing the family! Killing our future!" And then silence. Not healing, not yet. But quiet. Finality had settled in the room, a calm born of truth finally speaking. The judge exhaled. "Court will reconvene tomorrow. Due to new evidence, the matter of Utah family fraud and emotional coercion will be considered." Christine looked at her attorney. "Did he tell you this could involve criminal investigation?" He nodded slowly. "Exactly." Mary remained frozen, tears sliding down her face. Janelle moved closer. "Come on, Mary." "No," Mary shook her head. "I need to sit in it a while longer. I've spent too many years in lies." Christine sat beside her, gently resting a hand on her shoulder. And in that moment, for perhaps the first time, the three women were no longer sister wives. They were survivors. The courtroom felt colder, the air heavier. Kody Brown, the self-assured patriarch, the man with flowing curls and a perfect smile, had been reduced to absence. Three women remained, discovering the voices they had buried for decades. Mary silent, Janelle standing taller, Christine steady as a storm that had already passed, leaving truth in its wake. Today was the last hearing. Today the verdict. The room brimmed with tension. Reporters, former friends, church members, interns taking notes. Eyes held their breath, waiting for the final domino to fall. Judge Hamilton sat, hands clasped, ready. Kody was absent. He refused to appear to face the tempest he had created. His lawyer stood rigid, voice flat. "My client stands firm." This was an emotional ambush, a spiritual dynamic, not legal misconduct. Consider the absence of marriage contracts and formal agreements. Christine's lawyer rose, calm but resolute. "Did you advise her that defying Kody could endanger her eternal future?" Eli nodded quietly. "Yes." The courtroom understood. When heaven becomes a tool of control, it is no longer marriage. It is prison. Robin stood, tears streaming. "That's what I feared. That's why I never questioned anything. Not Kody, not the church. I thought I'd lose everything if I did. But I lost myself anyway." Then Mary rose, voice steady but fierce. "I lied under oath to protect a man who protected no one. I hid my shame in scripture. I told myself loyalty was love. It wasn't. I will correct my testimony. I will share everything. Ledgers, emails, forged invoices." Kody stepped forward. "You don't know what you're doing." Mary's eyes were clear. "Not at all. I finally do. The only thing more terrifying than losing everything is realizing you never truly had it at all." Court was adjourned, but nobody moved. Christine hugged Isabel, Janelle at her side. For the first time, these women stood as survivors, not shadows of a polygamist system. Robin remained seated, hands shaking, staring at the doors Kody would never walk back through. Thunder rumbled outside, rain pounding against glass like the sky itself weeping for the lies that had been told. A special hearing was set for the next day. Kody was ordered to present full financial statements. He left, silent, unrepentant, while Christine watched, expression unreadable. "One more day," she murmured. "And he can't hide behind God anymore." The final day. The courtroom packed. Kody entered, flanked by two lawyers. Robin appeared minutes later, pale, fists clenched, refusing to sit beside him. Christine and Janelle took their places, firm and unwavering. Mary sat behind the prosecution, signaling lines drawn, stakes clear. The judge addressed Kody. You've been accused of withholding financial disclosures, coercing testimony, and using religious pretenses to consolidate assets. Respond before judgment. Kody's voice was soft, careful, no swagger, no grin. I tried to hold together a family that was never meant to last. I gave everything to women who turned against me. I didn't misuse funds. I didn't steal. I made decisions no one else would. That's leadership. The prosecutor leaned in. Leadership isn't ownership, Mr. Brown. You took divine authority to manipulate, punish, and control. That's not leadership. That's tyranny. The judge cut through. This court does not condemn faith. It condemns cruelty disguised as faith. Prosecutor delivered the final blow. An email, 2 months before Christine left, transferring $74,000 to a private trust in Nevada. Out of reach, out of sight, Christine gasped. Janelle clutched her chest. Robin's face turned pale. Silent tears. She whispered, "He lied to me too." Christine turned to Kody. "You could have let us go with dignity. You burned it all to keep the illusion alive." Kody, red-eyed and bitter, "I gave you everything." "No," she replied. "You took everything, and then pretended we should be grateful. When love is measured in dollars, someone always goes bankrupt." The judge called order, and then judgment. Kody Brown had committed intentional misrepresentation of financial assets, abused religious authority over contracts, and attempted to bribe and intimidate witnesses. All jointly owned properties would be divided, Coyote Pass assets audited, accounts frozen. Emotional harm to the adult children was recognized. Isabel squeezed Christine's hand. The judge's gaze returned to Kody. "You may be a spiritual leader at home, Mr. Brown, but here, the law rules. Legacy isn't built on control. It is destroyed by it." Gavel down. Judgment rendered. Silence. Christine embraced Janelle. Mary cried. Robin left, silent. Kody lingered, blinking slowly, as if awakening from a dream in which he had power. But it wasn't a dream. Outside, cameras rolled. Christine emerged first, silent. A reporter shouted, "Christine, do you feel vindicated?" She kissed Isabel's forehead. "We can start again now." Janelle joined her. Broken, but not defeated. Mary departed last, unseen, back straight, free from lies she once carried. Kody drove away. No wives, no house, no legacy, just the echo of a life built on control. That evening, Christine recorded a short message. "It's over. What comes next is on us, not courts, not shows. Truth, healing, peace. We deserve peace." She paused. When the truth is no longer whispered behind doors, when loyalty stops being a weapon, you get justice. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's enough. For now. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's enough. For now.